one time when I was like 9 or something like that, 9 or 10, I have a whole bunch of older cousins, like older as in like 18 plus, and we were on Thanksgiving and we were taking a hike like on Thanksgiving, and they decided to climb up this cliff. And so I was like, oh, I can do that. I'm a big girl. And so I was like climbing up the cliff with a whole bunch of like my 18 plus cousins, and there's like 7 of them. And so we're climbing up this vertical cliff, and all my other family is at the top, just like they don't see that I'm climbing the cliff as a 10-year-old. And all my other cousins make it up, and I'm like halfway up the cliff. And basically, I can't go any farther because I'm not tall enough to reach the next ledge. So I'm sitting there on a cliff, and I'm screaming for my cousins, or like someone to hear me. And basically, the cliff that I was on fell, and I like slid down there, and slid down the cliff, and I got like road burn, and yeah, it was not very pretty. One time I was in a running club, and we were running around this lake, and we all had different speeds, and I was like in the middle, and there was kind of like a big distance between me and other people that were running the lake with me. And so it was kind of at dusk because it was getting dark and we were toward the end of our run. And so I was just like doing my own business, and this isn't the best part of town. And so basically this person was in a car, and they were like this. They were sitting there, and they were like this. And then and they were like 20 or like 30 or like somewhere around there. And there was this other guy who was also around 20 and 30, and he was obviously not in the right mental state, and he had the car like back door open, and he was standing right there, and this is like a narrow area, and he's like, hey, can you please help my friend? His nose is bleeding. And I look in the car, and the guy's like this. His nose is obviously not bleeding, and even if it was, he's like, I'm like 12, like I was like 12, so what can I do about it? And so he's like, I need your help, please, like, can you please help me with my friend? His nose is bleeding. And I'm like, I just like ignored him and kept like running, and so then he like stepped in front of me and was like, hey, can you please help me? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. And he wouldn't move, and so I finally just ran around him, but like I was petrified, and there's like no one else there. And so yeah, that was kind of scary. Another time I was really scared was I was in Asia a couple summers ago, and we were actually in Laos. If you know where that is, it's like near Thailand and Vietnam and stuff. And so in that country, everyone can drive like Vespa scooters and stuff. And so my parents were like, hey, you want to drive one? And I was like 10 at the time, and I was like, yes. And so I got to drive a Vespa, which is like a scootery motorcycle thing. And my mom was behind, like she was sitting behind me, but I was like steering it and pushing the gas and stuff. And in Asia or in Laos, they don't have stop signs. So basically, like if 2 cars are coming like this to an intersection, they just go like that and try to avoid hitting each other. So I didn't know you were supposed to slow down because I never took driver's ed. So I was like accelerating into this intersection, and there's another like motorcycle coming like this, and my mom starts freaking out. It's like, Addie, stop. But I was like this, and so my fingers were in the way of the brake, so she couldn't brake us. And so they weren't very good roads. There was like an off-road thing, and like the road went like straight and then just kind of like disappeared into this like, because like the concrete ended and it was like sharp. And so we spun off the edge of the road and like we smacked on the concrete. And my mom didn't get hurt, but I got like, I was bleeding all the way on my arms and my knees and like a little on my face. And this is in a foreign country and they don't have hospitals or anything. And so basically I'm like covered in dirt and blood and we're sitting there and no one else is helping us. And like all we have is another vest that my brother and dad were on. And so we're just sitting there and my arms are bleeding, and so no one was helping us and we couldn't get the motorcycle started again, and I was crying and my adrenaline was going and I was so scared. And I was like, so basically we just went back to the hotel room and like didn't do anything for the next like week. So yeah. I used to do horseback riding and I had a little pony, right? Like a small little pony. And my cousin, she had like a huge horse. And my little pony always like used to like like the horse. That's what we thought, right? And the horse, she was training for like a jumping thing. And I was around 7 or 6. I was like 6. And my cousin's like 13. And she is with her huge horse riding and jumping over these huge jumps. And the jumps are bigger than my horse. Bigger than my horse. They're huge jumps. And I'm like kind of like galloping around the field where she's practicing, right? And so my horse starts